How's the royal family? I pray that everyone is doing well. Well, my royal family, today Donald Trump been having fun tweeting all day and blasting Bloomberg, but his energy should have already shifted, because we know how fickle and his attention span is. So let's go over here real quick. Well, many of us know that Bill Barr is Trump's lapdog. And this is one of them popcorn videos, my royal family. I should have told y'all ahead, because I never, ever expected this. But the journey that I'm going to take the royal family on, I'm pretty sure Trump is going to tweet and go the fuck off. So what we have here. The Sun. I won't be bullied. Attorney General William Barr blasts Donald Trump for tweets that make it impossible for me to do my job. All right. As we continue on.
Good afternoon. We are coming on the air now with breaking news in the Roger Stone case that has consumed the Department of Justice this week. It unfolded when the line prosecutors in the case recommended Senator Stone, President Trump's longtime friend and political confidant. That came Monday afternoon. Hours later, shortly before 2 a.m. Thursday, President Trump weighed in on Twitter. You see it right there. He called this a horrible, very unfair situation, cannot allow this miscarriage of justice. Then the Department of Justice announced on Tuesday that they were indeed overruling the prosecutors and recommending a lighter sentence. It was an unprecedented move. All four prosecutors stepped down in protests. Congressional Democrats have called for investigations. Former justice officials have decried the White House interference. But President Trump responded with another tweet, congratulating Attorney General Barr for the decision. Our Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas just completed an exclusive interview with the Attorney General. And Pierre, in your interview, Attorney General Barr insisted he acted independently, but also leveled direct criticism at President Trump.
George, this has been a week unlike any other at the Justice Department, creating a firestorm of controversy. Barr is a strong supporter of President Trump, but he's drawing some lines. I asked if the tweets about criminal cases are causing a problem, and he was blunt, saying he wants them to stop.
To have public statements and tweets made about the department, about our people in the department, our men and women here, about cases pending in the department, and about judges before whom we have cases, make it impossible for me to do my job and to assure the courts and the prosecutors in the department that we're doing our work with integrity.
Mr. Barr, the president does not like to be told what to do. He may not like what you're saying. Are you prepared for those ramifications?
Of course, as I said during my confirmation, I came in to serve as Attorney General. I am responsible for everything that happens in the department, but the thing I have most responsibility for are the issues that are brought to me for decision. And I will make those decisions based on what I think is the right thing to do, and I'm not going to be bullied or influenced by anybody. And I said at the time, whether it's Congress, newspaper, editorial boards, or the president, I'm going to do what I think is right. And, I think I cannot do my job here at the department with a constant background commentary that undercuts me.
Pierre, an awful lot to unpack right there. Of course, the first thing is that the Attorney General and the Department of Justice did not act to overrule the prosecutors until after the president's tweet came out. Did he offer any evidence that he acted without knowing Trump's wishes?
George, he did not offer specifics, but he was emphatic that he never spoke to the president about Stone or anyone else at the White House. He said he conveyed to the prosecutors that the recommendation for 4 to 7 years in prison was excessive before it was filed, and that when he saw the filing, he immediately made clear to the department officials that it would not stand. But, George, we have yet to hear from any of those prosecutors who stepped down for their version of the story.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they say about that. He also says he won't be bullied by the president or anyone else, but he does have a pretty clear pattern of doing what President Trump wants. When he released the summary of the Mueller report, the Department of Justice recommending a lighter sentence also for Michael Flynn, the president's former national security advisor. And just this week, opening up that office, assigning the U.S. attorney in Pittsburgh to follow up on the information collected by Rudy Giuliani in Ukraine. Some critics of the attorney general have said he has indeed been acting like President Trump's defense attorney.
George, we asked him about all that. Barr supports the president's policies and has suggested that he believes the president has been treated unfairly, and he's not shy about making that clear. But he maintains that he believes he's doing what is right and is willing to take the heat from the critics.
He also had some tough words for the prosecutors to step down.
He basically said that their recommendation was wrong and that they were overzealous, and that sometimes people working most closely on the cases lose perspective. Again, we have not heard from them yet, George, so we'll have to see what happens. But Barr says this is his call to make as the Attorney General.
Exclusive interview from Pierre Thomas right there, our Chief Justice correspondent. We'll go to Terry Moran, our senior national correspondent at the White House. I assume it hasn't come across on my Twitter yet, no response yet from President Trump or the White House?
Not yet, but we can expect one for sure, because what Attorney General Barr is trying to do here, he is looking at a crisis of confidence in his leadership at the Justice Department, within the Justice Department, and certainly around Washington. He's trying to back the president off a little bit, it seems, about the kinds of tweets that the president regularly issues, which are almost directing the Department of Justice to investigate specific American citizens or to do certain things in specific cases. That won't go down well with this president. Thinking back, former Secretary of State Rex Tillerson tried to back the president off a little bit from time to time, and he's no longer Secretary of State. Former Director of National Intelligence Dan Coates, same thing. This is very thin ice in some ways that the Attorney General is on, and it must be a very serious situation indeed for him to come forward. But right now, at this point, no tweets, no response from the president as of yet.
Thin ice, even though he's acted in accord, Terry, with the president's wishes in most of these cases.
And the president loves Attorney General Barr up to this point. He was just saying on the radio today that he wishes he'd appointed Bill Barr Attorney General first before Jeff Sessions. So he has a very loyal Attorney General. But in this interview, it's pretty clear that Barr feels that his credibility in some ways is at stake, given what happened in Roger Stone's case, and is trying to back the president off a little bit.
Terry Moran, Pierre Thomas, thanks very much. That exclusive interview, we'll have much more on that, of course, tonight on World News Tonight with David Muir. We return now to your...
So, my royal family, before we get into the next video, I have some thoughts about this. So, the first thing that came to my mind is Bill Barr is too afraid to confront Trump with what he said. So, this gives him cover by going on the national news, and this is being seen globally. And I'm in agreement that Trump will eventually, like I said, I started it here because he's been having fun all day, undercutting actually somebody that's one and the same with him. And for Bill Barr to do what he did, I was wondering if Bill Barr was going to cave in to the criticism that he was getting by many politicians in the Democratic Party. Trump already got the Republican Party scared to death at this point to say anything. Now, I was wrong about something, my royal family. I had said after the impeachment, maybe Trump will act right for 2 weeks, or maybe just this week. He going full speed ahead. In these events with Roger Stone, the energy that I was picking up is Trump is inflaming people behind the scenes. And they're bubbling up with the things that he is doing, because there's a way that they operate in their system, and he doesn't have to direct Bill Barr to do anything. He's already his lapdog, so he knows what to do, and he micromanages way too much. So Bill Barr has already lost a lot of friends making the choice that he has made. But another thing, I made a prediction. I said there will be something down the pipe that Trump will ask of Bill Barr to do that he's essentially going to have to tell him no. Just to clear up things, when they were talking about the recommendation that the federal prosecutors came down with, that is within their guidelines, with stuff that they have put in their own law books. When you commit federal crimes, basically they shot that he got some nigger time. That's really what they mean. They expect him to get the most maybe 18 months or just house arrest, or just get reprimanded real good and go home and pay a fine, and that's that. Roger Stone gonna have to go to jail. And the other thing is, we know Trump can pardon him. Well, if he do it immediately, it could affect him possibly becoming the president. So we gonna see how this gonna go. We really gonna see how it go. So now I'm going ahead and go play the full video so we can hear directly from Bill Barr's mouth. Let's get it all in. Nope, oops, wrong one. Let's see here. Oh, here it is.
For the District of Columbia signed off on, his name is on the recommendation that went in there.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
On Monday, he came by to briefly chat with me and say that the team very much wanted to recommend the 7 to 9 year to the judge, but he thought that there was a way of satisfying everybody and providing more flexibility, and there was a brief discussion of that. I was under the impression that what was going to happen was very much what I had suggested, which is deferring to the judge and then pointing out various factors and circumstances. On Monday night, when I first saw the news reports, I said, gee, the news is spinning this. This is not what we were going to do.
So you were surprised?
I was very surprised, and once I confirmed that that's actually what we filed, I said that night to my staff that we had to get ready, because we had to do something in the morning to amend that and clarify what our position was. I had made a decision that I thought was fair and reasonable in this particular case. And once the tweet occurred, the question is, well, now what do I do? And do you go forward with what you think is the right decision, or do you pull back because of the tweet? And that just sort of illustrates how disruptive these tweets can be.
So you're saying you have a problem with the tweets?
Yes. Well, I have a problem with some of the tweets. I'm happy to say that, in fact, the president has never asked me to do anything in a criminal case. However, to have public statements and tweets made about the department, about our people in the department, our men and women here, about cases pending in the department, and about judges before whom we have cases, make it impossible for me to do my job and to assure the courts and the prosecutors in the department that we're doing our work with integrity.
Mr. Barr, the president does not like to be told what to do. He may not like what you're saying. Are you prepared for those ramifications?
Of course, as I said during my confirmation, I came in to serve as Attorney General. I am responsible for everything that happens in the department, But the thing I have most responsibility for are the issues that are brought to me for decision. And I will make those decisions based on what I think is the right thing to do, and I'm not going to be bullied or influenced by anybody. And I said at the time, whether it's Congress, newspaper, editorial boards, or the president, I'm going to do what I think is right. And I think I cannot do my job here at the department with a constant background commentary that undercuts me.
So, just to be clear here, did you talk to the president at all about your decision regarding the recommendations?
The recommendations on this case? Never.
Anybody from the White House call you to try to influence you?
No. Nope.
So
I have not discussed the Roger Stone case at the White House.
Does the president have the authority to just direct you to open an investigation and you have to do it? Can you help people at home understand, can he do that?
I think in many areas, such as that don't affect his personal interests. Terrorism or fraud by a bank or something like that, where he's concerned about something, he can certainly say, I think someone should look into that. That's perfectly appropriate. If he were to say, go investigate somebody because, and you sense it's because they're a political opponent, then an attorney general wouldn't carry that out.
Having known you and covered you for years, you're not a person that responds a lot to criticism. But I am wondering, in this version of the job, you in the job, and when you hear people on Capitol Hill saying Barr is acting more like the personal attorney of the president rather than the chief law enforcement officer, how irritated does that make you, and what do you say to those people?
Well, this goes back to the fact we are in a very polarized situation, and so in that kind of situation, I expect a lot of low blows, and there are a lot of low blows, but I don't respond to that, as you say. But I do think that in the current situation, as I've said, the fact that the tweets are out there and correspond to things we're doing at the department sort of give grist to the mill, and that's why I think it's time to stop the tweeting about Department of Justice criminal cases.
Wow. We heard it right out of the pig's mouth. So, I'm waiting for Trump. We're going to see how Trump get down. And remember what I said at first. For Barr to come on national news to say what he say, something is going on in that White House. And Trump is actually put on the spot because he has already established a relationship with Barr, and Barr is doing his bidding. So is he going to be a hothead and say, get rid of that motherfucker and get somebody else? Because he feel like these people are working for him exclusively. And Barr has already made himself look like a damn fool. But ultimately, in the end, we're going to see, because I think he's going to get sentenced next week. Ultimately, in the end, it's going to be all up to the judge. And the judge was appointed by Barack Obama. She's married to a black man, which don't mean anything one way or the other, but, I went and looked up some stuff last night. Let's see what's going on. And then the last thing that I can remember before I went to sleep, other prosecutors from the department, DOJ, they were also possibly, and they still may be possibly planning to do this, just a complete walkout because they can't do their job. Trump likes to obstruct. And these things that this fool don't realize he's doing, they're impeachable. He won't stop. He will not stop. And there's so much more I want to say, but I have to reserve myself because I have to wait for some certain events that may or may not happen. But I did share it behind the scenes with some folks, and I'm just going to leave it there. But the thing that I want to drop on y'all again, Trump's actions inflame people. And when they inflame people, they have certain negative thoughts about him that they may or may not execute. So this is quite interesting, this election season, and we still got a long way to go. So we shall see what happens, because he gonna express thyself on them Twitters. So my royal family, render your voice with your beautiful divine words. And as always, my royal family, I thank you for your love. I thank you for your support. And with that said, Ashe.